up your engines! If you've ever thought about speed in racing, realize one thing. Speed is just a question of money. How much money do you want to spend and how fast do you want to go? Well, perhaps you want to get the feeling of speed, but you don't want to spend that much money. Check out Speed Sport Racing Park. You might think about go-kart racing. Now, don't think of those little ones with lawnmower engines on. Here, you can rent ones that go up to 70 miles an hour. You could bring your own. On their straightaway, they can go about 90 miles an hour. You don't have to spend a fortune to have a lot of fun. Now, realize this. Go-karts are very low to the ground. When you're that low to the ground, these particular ones that you can rent will go 46 miles an hour. When you're this low to the ground, going 46 miles an hour, let me tell you, that feels like you're flying. If you remember the video I made a few weeks ago with that Chinese electric pedal scooter, that thing only went 20 miles an hour. I thought I was flying. This is even lower down. You really feel the speed in these things. These are 270cc Honda engines, so you know they're dependable. And they put out about 9 horsepower. But as you can see, these things are fiberglass. They don't weigh that much. So when you get an old big old man on these weigh about 350 pounds. So you're adding quite a bit of load when you're sitting on these things compared to the vehicle. When you're leaning and stuff, you're actually affecting the aerodynamics quite a bit in one of these things, which makes it even more interesting. Now they have various setups, but you get 3 10-minute races for about 60 bucks. That's a lot of fun. One of my customers, who happened to be a judge, he wanted to get into cheap racing, and all of his rich friends had Porsches. So he decided he was going to go Mazda Miata. So we bought a Mazda Miata, and I'd work on it for him, and I paid $5-6 grand for the thing, and he raced it around a little, and even that started to bankrupt him. He didn't like the cost, especially when he took it to the Formula One racetrack in Austin when they were having a Miata race, and he found out that if he smashed into any of those barriers, it was going to cost him about $15,000 for them to fix it. That's what they charge the guys who mess them up. So soon after, he sold his Miata and didn't race anymore. And maybe you've got friends that race Italian sports cars. Well, this is a Barrel. It's made in Italy too. Now, as you can see here, there's 2 tracks. The rental track is about half a mile. It's still a pretty big track. And for those who want to do fancier racing, there's an 8/10 one. You can even bring your own go-karts for that. Let's say you're a newcomer. You might be a little ashamed and shy. Well, you can stick to the public track and realize that you're coming in over this hill here. Well, the serious racers coming on the other side. Some of them store their racing carts in there, and they're racing on a completely different track. So you don't have to worry about being embarrassed by a pro. Now here's one of the faster carts. You can see it's used, it's going for $5,900. You're not gonna get much in a race car for $5,900. You see it's gone well beyond the little bitty Honda generator motor. 0 to 100 and back in 10 seconds. Now that is speed. It's a Honda engine, it's 125cc. It's a 2-stroker, so man, does it have power. Twice the power of a 4-stroke. Got a big old radio on it. 4-wheel hydraulic brakes. Got a 6-speed transmission, just like a motorcycle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can learn how to shift those things really fast. And it's got chain drive. Talk about dependability. You're not messing with differentials. As you can see, it's got a live rear axle. You can have a lot of fun driving one of these things for people who really want to know how to drive. Let's say you try it out and you like it and you want to go a little further. Got a whole racing academy here. You get a pro to teach you how to drive. Get rid of a lot of the danger of you don't know what the heck you're doing by a guy who's been doing it for a long time. Here he is, the master. He's been racing stuff for 40 years. He was at Bondurant Racing for 14 years. The guy knows what he's doing. He loves what he's doing. He built this place. And now maybe he's a little crazy. Well, aren't we all a little crazy if you want to have some fun? Now here we are in the back where they fix them. Now you might think, oh, that's just a Honda generator motor. They remove the governor, lighten things up. These things can go 5,200 RPM, and they say that they get about 10,000 miles out of one before they got to rebuild it, because really, you're running to the public, things are going to happen. Well, there's blocks, there's heads in there, there's crankshafts in there, And this man here, he claims that he can build one of those in about 2 hours. Now, as I said, these are Italian made, and they're supposed to have a lifespan of 2 years. This one's 4 years old, it's past its prime, but it's still going. Now imagine if the Italians could get rid of that and use it in their cars. Some of them may not even make it to 2 years, but not too many people are gonna be happy buying a car, and then after 2 years, they gotta buy another one. Italian go-karts, yeah. Italian cars, now if you're really into speed, you can rent these 70-mile-an-hour karts. Got a Rotex engine on it. Very good engines, you notice, instead of a rubber timing belt on the other one, this has a metal drive chain. It's putting out a lot more horsepower. And believe me, going 70 miles an hour, when you're this far off the ground, it really feels like you're going 270 miles an hour. And they have different kinds of karts too. This is a mid-sized one, goes 7 to 12 years old. They got even smaller ones I'm going to show later. So all ages can have fun in these things. It isn't just a thing for little kids. Talk about simplicity. This is the entire wiring system of the car. There's a kill switch. That goes the ignition coil. They're very simple. Believe me, when you drive these things around, you feel like you're really going. Here comes some 70-mile-an-hour ones. And if you're really good like this young lad, get big for your britches, they can drive the full-size ones. They put pedal enhancers so they can reach them. If their legs aren't long enough, but their skill's good enough, away they go. These guys even let motorcycles on their track. They're smaller motorcycles, but they're just like a full-size race bike, only smaller. Yep. She's been racing for a little while, and she's having fun on this thing. How fast have you ever been going on a track?
I've hit 58 on this track, which is my top speed on it. So.
And that's on a go-kart track. Made for things that are, you know, a little bit lower than this. We got some father-daughter racing here, and believe it or not, the daughter's much faster than the father. And off they go. No, I wasn't lying. They make kid karts too, so the smallest kids can learn how to drive. They still have a Honda engine, so they're very dependable. Now you might think, go-karts, how serious are they? Well, guys bring some pretty big rigs to these races. These guys, they're starting to set up. You can see, they got them stacked up so they can move them around. Been through a few bashes here and there. This particular one is Precision Works Speed Concepts Racing. But if you want it to be small time, you can come and rent them and have fun with the family. You want to get serious? You can buy your own kart. You want to really get serious? You can buy your own team. And you might think, oh, they're just wheels stuck on a rod. Look at these roller bearings. I mean, that is a work of art. These things are really solid built if you want to get serious. And if you're real serious, you can rent your own little paddock. And being a king of cheap, I'm starting out with the $60 version. And away I go! So if you really want to get a feel of speed, you might start with the $60 version of 3 races. You might get hooked, buy your own kart, soup it up. Who knows? But you can have a lot of fun for a little bit of money. Now you can spend thousands if you really want to get serious about it, but you can start out dirt cheap, have some real fun for very little money. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Aaron M says, Scotty, I got a 2014 Honda CR-V with 101,000 miles. It's been great, but the VTC actuator has went bad. Should it get changed or deal with? I see many people, they just drive it that way. I have a warranty on it. It'll cover the cost. What should I do? Well, you got the warranty. Use it. Get it fixed. For those of you who are going to fix it yourself, the first thing you want to do, they just bolt in and out. Bolt it out and look at it. Because if you didn't change your oil and you were a bad person, the oil clogs up, the little screen's in it. You can just get some cleaner and clean the screen and put it in. A lot of times that fixes it. And some of them have a separate area where you unbolt and the filter screen is in there. You need to clean that out too. Now, if that doesn't work and it still acts up, you could buy an actuator. And I've found that I get those Dorman ones from discount auto parts stores and they work perfectly fine. They're a lot cheaper than at the Honda dealer. And the Dorman actuators I've found work perfectly fine. And you just bolt it back in and away you go. It's not Honda's a nice company. You don't have to reprogram anything. You just put it in and drive. That's what I like about Honda. They don't make you like BMW, Mercedes, Porsche. You change a part, you got to reprogram everything. No, on that, you just bolt it in and drive away. It's an easy thing you can do yourself. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.